permission to report, Lord Captain. Members of the sacred cult operating aboard the ship have requested an audience. They wish to present gifts and introduce themselves to their new captain. What sacred cult? They call themselves the Blood-Spun Web. The cult defends the flagship from both internal and external threats. Lady Theodora held them in high regard and looked favorably upon their activities. I am ready to receive them. I will commence preparations at once, Lord Captain. Those on the deck watch in awe as the final figures move gracefully into a ceremonial pose. Some of the officers whisper in excitement, while others murmur prayer to the God Emperor.
The Undying Emperor commanded us to spin a web of blood around his children, and we obeyed. We obey still. Domin von Valancius. Death has whispered your name. We disown Domin Theodora. We renounce our oath to her. And now we give the gift of our blood to you. It is the gift of death. Death has whispered your name. The followers of the tenets of the web swear fealty to their new overlord and offer proof of their devotion. We give you a blade, the silent verdict. The Undying One has chosen you to wield this instrument of death. We give you one of our own, Kibella. She will be your shield and shadow. And we give you the blood of these traitors. The tenets of the web will purify their souls.
You have heard of many stories about the death cults, such as this one. These devoted, holy assassins of the Imperium have turned death into a form of worship of the Emperor. They are exemplary slayers, invisible executioners, and the scourge of traitors, heretics, and fallen souls. Many righteous people honor them as votaries of faith, while others see their fearsome rituals as frenzied spectacles touched by madness. The cultists are all the Voidborn. Their lithe, sinewy bodies are clad in light armor, which allow them to move with an acrobatics, nimble grace, and strike with an assassin's swift celerity. Their red and black vestments are adorned with sharp spikes and ritual jewelry. Where time and training have worn their garments threadbare, you can make out patterns of bleeding lacerations. The prisoners cower beneath the weight of your gaze. Blood drips down their tear-stained faces, and the captured officers technomachs, and workers. A word has been carved into each of their foreheads with malicious precision. Traitor, heretic, apostate, renegade. The cuts have been diligently and regularly reopened to prevent healing.
These renegades committed treachery against their domin. Their lips once praised the name of Kunrad Voigtveer, but it is your name they will whisper as they cross over to the other side.
Interesting. So if Death Cult watches over my crew, they who honor the Emperor through killing, who devote their every deed to serving him, sacred executioners.
The Domin has discerned our essence. This is a great honor for the blood-spun web. We have woven the bays of this ship together with the threads of our faith for many years. We keep the greatest relic, his tarot, through which he sends us his blessed revelations. We obey the whispers of the Undying One. This is our service to him. This is our service to you.
How interesting. Devout assassins who believe themselves to be instruments of a higher power. They revel in violence and cannot tell the difference between bloodthirst and piety. They follow their faith blindly, unaware of how closely they tread the corruption and depravity. Look at them. They stand on the edge of a precipice. The smallest push will send them plummeting into the abyss. You could be their downfall. All you have to do is push.
What exactly does a cult like Bloodspun Web do?
The tenets of the web teach us to read the threads of the future and understand the hearts of others. When a soul is filled with the poison of corruption, we know its time has come. We bring liberation. 3 strikes, 3 rebukes, 1 blade. This is how we serve the Undying One. This is how we serve you and your flagship. But there are others, the virtuous martyrs who contravene his design without realizing it. Those who have come too close to faltering or committing an apostasy, but have not erred yet. We present such souls to the Undying One.
You kill innocent people?
We do not desire their death. We do not seek them out in the darkness. They come to us, and we usher them from this life, if his sacred tarot reveals that the Emperor wishes to accept these martyrs.
You mentioned the tenets of the web. What are they?
Our laws and teachings, our philosophy and way of life, our art of combat and spiritual dogma. The tenets are the blood-spun web itself. Humanity owes its existence to the Undying Emperor's sacrifice. It is he who protects us from a darkness of terrors. Hence, each of us has a duty to serve him, and a duty to die for him. To act otherwise is to waste the life that has been given to us by the Undying One, to become a thief. We help others understand this. We help them to live and die righteously.
Continue to serve me, dancers of death, but henceforth let my name be upon your lips when you shed blood.
Your name upon our lips.
Tell me about yourself, Kabbalah. Are you the leader of the Bloodspun Web, or its herald, or its servant?
I am the second spinner of the Bloodspun Web. The honor of this title is bestowed only upon those who have ushered more souls than... It is shameful to speak of one's own deeds. I'm here to become your shadow, not to make boasts.
Why have you brought this rabble to the upper decks?
So you may offer the souls of these traitors as a gift to him. You have the authority to order their execution. Their blood will bind us together through him. For the God Emperor, the Undying One, is death itself. The Undying One is duty itself. Give the order, Domin. Let a spinner of the Bloodspun Web undergo the test of a sacred trial.
Give weapons to the traitors. It is time for Kabbalah to prove herself.
A dagger that has not sliced through sinew is nothing more than a toy. Let the final dance begin.
Your Emperor won't save you!
Cry, flee, pray. You cannot alter your fate. I am your blade and shield. Trust me. The shadows will come. The other side awaits. Trust me.
A tribute to the Undying Emperor!
I will set them free.
The Masters demand your death!
Death comes in silence. As honor ordains. I shall not fail. Death is a blessing. Trust me. The shadows will killing brings me no pleasure. As the tenets to death is a blessing.
A cut to the heart, a cut to the throat, a cut to the stomach. These wounds have been inflicted according to his pleasure. The blood of the apostates will wash away the stains of their treachery, so that their souls may prostrate themselves before the Undying One's throne and beg his forgiveness. She wipes away the blood from her blade in one swift movement. I have acted with reverence and shown proof of my loyalty. Will you accept me, Dalman Holt? Will you make me your shield and shadow? Your lordship, the spinners of the Bloodspun Web were watching, tracking, and killing Von Valancius' enemies long before the warrant of trade passed to Lady Theodora. However, their blades have also been known to cut short the lives of highly upstanding persons. The Factum swallows nervously, casting a fleeting glance at Kabbalah. But I certainly do not in any way condone these deeds of the deeply esteemed cult. I'm sure they must have their good reasons. A stern-looking woman clears her throat. The cultists are the scourge of the Syndatus. They bring the unrighteous to ruin. The enforcers respect the blood-spun web, for we share a common goal, to bring his light and his harsh justice to the darkest depths of his ship. Scourge of the Stadius or not, folk are afraid of them for a reason. A couple of watches ago, those spinners took a train driver to pieces for some kind of ritual. Don't know what the old Maldic did to earn the privilege, though. Who's gonna feed his family now? Inrich takes a drag of his IO stick, exhaling the thick smoke through his clenched teeth. But that's the lower decker's problem. What matters is the blood-spun web serves you faithfully, Lord Captain. A plump old man in rich robes of a confessor adds respectfully. My predecessor's predecessor once delivered a sermon about how the spinners have saved this vessel from servants of the archenemy. The blood-spun web paid the price in blood, a river of scarlet that flooded the decks from the bridge to the bilge. They became the blood of the flagship, the pulse of its veins, and the beat of its heart. There's great sacrifice earned them the favors of House von Valancius. It seems that all officers have been presented to me. Indeed, your lordship. Josiah Sowerback, at your service. I'm entrusted with the honor of commanding the enforcers and keeping order aboard this vessel. It is my duty to punish trespassers, suppress disobedience, and rebel any and all attacks on the ship. Confessor Albert, your lordship. As humble servant of the Emperor, I am entrusted with the high honor of being the ship's confessor, or, in other words, the highest spiritual authority on your vessel. I am here to oversee the purity of the crew's faith. I officiate in the officers' chapel, and also look after the ship's reliquary. Confessor, tell me about the spinner's great sacrifice. The vessel was beset by famine and pestilence during a long warp jump. The flagship wandered uncharted paths of the interior. Immaterium for 20 cycles straight. The servants of the archenemy used the despairing hearts of the crew to infiltrate the ship, and death followed. The hunger became the hunted. The famished became a feast. The exhausted crew was too weak and implicated to resist the invaders. But then the spinners emerged from the depths. They stood alone against hundreds of foes, yet they did not falter. They did not sleep or rest as their blade-tipped dance brought death. Though many spinners fell, the blood-spun web held strong until the flagship left the tonal of the warp. I wish to hear what my Rechine thinks. I have heard, though only at a distance, the prayers of the spinners offer up to him. I have seen how their deeds fill the people's heart with confidence in the inevitability of his wrath. The blood-spun web's loyalty to the Emperor is without question, as is their willingness to lay down their lives in the fight against the archenemy. Although Lady Theodora never granted the cult an audience or brought a spinner into her retinue, she respected the blood-spun web and approved of its mission. It is strange. Their shadowy forms are swathed in darkness, yet a radiant light burns within them like a scarlet flame. I think it is a good sign. It is rare to see anyone filled with such light, even among servants of the faith. You will be my shadow, Cabela. Cabela's movements are slow, almost rhythmic, as she removes her ceremonial mask. The dark shadow of her eyes create the deathly pallor of her skin, which is covered in ritual scars. Henceforth, I am your shadow, Domin Holt von Valancius, an instrument of death placed in your hand by the Undying One, for so it is ordained, and his Tarot forspoke. She bows her head once more. Has also come bearing the invitation from the visor of the blood-spun web. He wishes to know what the door to the Undying One's temple are open to you. Are you suggesting the Lord Captain should go down to the depths of his flagship to search for this temple? With all due respect, the lower decks are for servants and crew. They are not fitting place for his lordship. Forspoke? What do you mean? What Tarot? The greatest, most sacred relic of the blood-spun web, the Emperor's Tarot. Only his chosen servants may earn the permission to rain blood upon the cards and perform a reading to see the portents of the future, shadows of the past, or tangles of the present. However, the secrets of his tarot are not for the ears of lay people to hear. I cannot tell you more. Not here. Not now. Who is the Vizier? He is the first among us. The Vizier has spun the web of faith for 5-fold longer than I have been lived. Blood of the flagship's blood, my mentor and teacher. Why is he not here to deliver the message himself? The first spinner is old. His abode is in the temple beneath the flagship's freight line, and he has not left the lower decks in decades. Even a short journey could sunder the spirit from his ancient body. Where is your temple located? I am not permitted to say. If you wish to find the temple, you must walk the path of the Saint Emerald, the monarch spider, the matriarch spider. Hers was the thread that would soon become the blood-spun web. Her path began deep within the flagship, in the dark tunnels of the freight line, and that is where yours must begin as well. This journey will bring you closer to the thread of the web, closer to the Undying One, closer to understanding death. I will walk in the footsteps of the matriarch spider. Your journey will begin in the darkness of the deepest tunnel. The Vizier waits you. The cultists retreat into the shadows as Cabela sheaths her ceremonial dagger. Your blade awaits direction, Domin Holt. We will speak again when the time is right. The astropathic station is dead, ahead of the void ship. It is motionless. There is lifeless silence across the Vox frequencies. Its lights are out. Even those who have no warp sensitivity can feel the presence of death. It is here, lurking in the shadows, all that makes reading the reports of the ship's astropaths who claim to be hearing an insistent ghostly howl emanating from the station, all the more disturbing. Contact the station by Vox. The station is not responding. Perhaps there is no one left who could respond. Deploy a scouting team. a scouting team. The enforcers offered their prayers and proceeded to enter the uncanny station. What they saw inside was monstrous. Astropaths upon their thrones, not quite here, not quite now, smudged, as it were, across time. Servants reliving their horrible deaths again and again, only to be reborn out of the ashes and blood into more agony a moment later. The warp manifested itself here, twisting the very nature of existence. The main hall was covered in a crust of psychic ice. A green-robed blind old man sat motionless upon a tall throne. Yet, he was quite literally embedded in the ice, yet he was still alive and screaming. Corps Master Wise boarded the station in person and proceeded to the chores hall. He stood silently for hours in front of the man frozen in ice and held a telepathic conversation with him. Then Master Wise offered a prayer to the God Emperor, and the unfortunate man passed away. Upon returning to the ship, Wise revealedly presented the Lord Captain with a Grum trophy, the late Chore Master's amulet taken from his frozen body after his death. The psychic shriek carrying across the Imperium has been silenced, but this has brought the crew no relief. A chilling realization comes from the Aeropaths when they discovered that the cry was masking a different sound, even one more terrifying and surreal. It was the melody of a cataclysm born from a warp storm of titanic power, so intense the entire expansion must be able to hear it. It muffles astropathic messages and crawls into the psychic minds, invoking everywhere the same image, a dark, gasping, beastly mouth cleaving the universe in two. Now that the mad Corps Master has finally stopped screaming, the song of the immaterial has reached the rogue trader's void ship too. A brief and chilling chronicle of the station's doom was found in the scribe's records. A warp disturbance of monstrous proportion wiped out half the choir at once, turning the astropaths into living portals through which torrents of the immaterium energies poured out. Those who lasted longer bellowed and howled about the black rifts that had split the universe in before and after, in a darkness that would devour the Astron realm's light. Void torpedoes shattered the fragile station. One can only hope that the unfortunate souls captured by the warp have perished along with their home. Lord Captain, sorry to disturb you. Vigis pauses as if listening to something. It's pandemonium outside the bridge gate. One of the officers seems to be demanding an audience with you in person. I think I hear Master Saren voice. In any case, I want to warn you in advance. The everyday sounds of the bridge are disrupted by voices raised in anger. Aberlad's voice the loudest of all. This is not conduct of an officer. These are antics of a highborn brat out of Lark. Explain yourself, Lieutenant. The young woman standing before Alverlad strives with all her might not to quail under the onslaught of her superior's anger. She falters, but then manages to look him in the eye and say, I apologize, sir, but I must speak to the Lord Captain. Very well, Lieutenant. You may address the Lord Captain, not at least because I see you have already seen fit to disturb him. Your unauthorized appearance on the bridge and display of belligerence towards a higher-ranking officer will be logged on your personal file without delay. Lord Captain, Lieutenant Arvilla Event requesting permission to speak. Event falls silence and then rashly, on a matter of extreme importance and urgency. You may speak, but I want to hear a report, not a shouting match. Having two officers bickering in full view of the bridge is unacceptable. I'm sorry, Lord Captain. I thought that drastic times called for drastic measures. This matter cannot wait. Any minute now an assault unit will be dispatched to the lower decks on orders to crush the workers' strike by any means necessary. But I'm convinced that the step is unwarranted and that the crisis itself was provoked by actions of one of the senior officers. Gwen is almost trembling with tension as she shivers during her speech, her face extremely pale. Alverlad is no hurry to intervene, lets out a skeptical huff, then he glances at Surback. He was standing not far from him, but she maintains a stony expression. Lord Captain, I urge you to investigate the actions of Sentinel Wersurin, and to intervene in what's happening on the lower decks, because very soon we will have a mutiny or massacre on our hands. Vent reels at the last of her words as though she knows them by heart. She has clearly been prepping to say them for some time. When she is finished, she casts an anxious glance at Alverlad, then at you. There's an insurrection is making aboard my ship, and no one has informed me. I would not deem it a problem worthy of the rogue trader's attention. The lower decks, as it so happens, are in revolt. 30-some years ago, we even had a revolutionary leader rise up who dared to establish workers' rules across the entire ship. It took a month to restore order, but even 8 years later, we were still battling rumors that the hero had survived his execution and was on the verge of gathering people to fight against tyranny once more. Needless to say, the rumors were baseless. As for the current situation, we have significant enforcers to deal with. But on this ship, the word of the Lord Captain carries more weight than a salvo from 100 bolters. I'm sure if the rogue trader addressed the Mousecon deck directly, he will quell the unrest. I dread to think what problem you will disturb the rogue trader with next. Perhaps you will ask Lord Captain to break up brawls in the mess room? I have already given you the means to resolve this problem. You simply need to use them. If I may, your lordship, sending a hit squad to crush a rebellion is a means of ignoring the problem, not solving it. How did this all start? The situation could boil over in any minute, so I'll give you the condensed version. It all began when the enforcers found the cultist amulet on the body of someone who had been killed in the drunken brawl. We reported up the chain immediately, arranged for a cleansing rite to be performed and opened an investigation. No heretics have been found alive, but the search has brought tensions between the enforcers and the workers to head. What does Sentinel Wersurin come into all this? I shall explain. I beg you to hurry, time is running out. I will not hurry, since Since my competence is under scrutiny, I shall speak as for as long as I see fit. There is an established order to the way things are done on this ship, and one of the pillars is that the rogue trader's attention is not distracted by trivial matters. It is the Sentinel's role to ensure that I have always handled internal problems myself, so of course, when I received information about cultists hiding in the lower decks, I took the matter in my own hand. So long as I live, no one of the vermin who murdered Theodora von Valancius will find refuge on her ship. You were far too hammered, Central were Siren. Arrests, interrogations, mass punishments for entire sectors. It has driven the people to the brink, Vint says bitterly. Now there's a strike on the lower decks, in Depot 4, to be precise. 3 worker clans are involved, but many more are passively supporting them. This situation could degrade into an all-out insurrection, but when I reported my concerns, the only response I received was an order to dispatch an assault unit and crush the strike with maximum force. Aberlad, what do you have to say to all this? I see no need to add anything. I acted within the remit of my authority, guided exclusively by the best interest of your protectorate and your personal safety. If you wish to confirm the rectitude of my actions for yourself, I have no objections. For my part, I urge the Lord Captain to go and speak to the lower decks. Stop the assault unit and speak directly to the people. You will see that they are not lying or harboring heretics. That way you will stop the uprising before it begins. What is Depot 4? Depot 4 is the poorest section on the lower decks. It is home to the clans of general laborers. They are not as valuable to the ships as the families who have served its specialist systems for generations. They are a valuable resource, and one of which is now more besides giving succor to cultists and minions of the Arch. Depot 4 is poor and troubled, but at worst it means drunken fights and illegal rot-gut brewing. We have handled the workers Depot 4 in the past. We would have done so again if the crackdown on Depot 4 hadn't been so harsh. And another important to bear in mind, the problem is not limited to this sector. It is located on one of the most populated lower decks, and everything that happened there has a knock-on effect on all the neighboring sectors. Master-at-Arms, the ship's enforcers report to you, and yet you seem hesitant to provide your own perspective. Lord Captain, unlike Lieutenant Vint, I respect the chain of command and realize that it is not within my right to challenge my superiors. Her head in Alberlad's direction. Were Siren's opinion on the fate of Depot 4 deserves, I must note that the insubordination is a direct consequence of practices that he himself has introduced. Mistress Sourback, I see that you've decided to follow the lieutenant's example after all. Such behavior does you no credit. Explain yourself. The ship's regulations state that the Master of Arms is responsible for resolving all matters related to the ship's enforcement. And yet, it is no secret that Sentinel has tendency to show particularly. These enforcers and officers whom he had deemed particularly promising are at given times permission to approach him for tutelage. I cannot deny Master Wersen experience and insight. The Sentinel has recorded as a record of fostering students who have indeed achieved much and demonstrated impeccable performance. However, extending such patronage over the head of their immediate superior encouraged disregard for hereditary among your lordship's servants. Today, an enforcer goes to Sentinel to report an order from the Master-at-Arms that they happen to disagree with. Tomorrow they will go to the Lord Captain to object to the Sentinel's order. I notice a pattern in these actions. Aberlad, do you wish to respond? Mr. Sarbeck, can you recall an occasion where I would encourage an officer to disobey their superior? Or what? Or one where I would overrule their order, or show favoritism to those who merited none? None, Sentinel, for there have been no such cases in the entire time I have served aboard this ship. If anyone were to claim otherwise, I would have them pay for insulting your honor with blood. Your conduct in this regard has always been spotless. Nevertheless, given your eminent position, a simple show of attention on your part is enough to erode the property of junior officers, inflate their sense of self-importance, and undermine discipline. That you distinguished some of them and know them by name is tantamount to walking around the officers deck handing out gifts to officers who have caught your eye. It fills those you set apart with ambition and audacity to make them stand out among the rest. Enforcers are meant to be faceless servants, fighters ready to die, their fate entrusted to their commander, and no one else. That is the sole foundation of order. Lieutenant Vent, would you say the Sentinel has singled you out from your peers in any way? Lord Captain, I swear that the Sentinel Wars has never granted me any privileges, near once advocated for me, nor facilitate my promotions, although he is a man who convinced me to become an officer in the first place. He has offered me extensive guidance in my service, for which I am grateful to him. And while not all my fellows receive such attention, I know that at least a dozen fine officers whom Sentinel keeps in his sight to ensure that they continue to strive to prepare new generations of the dynasty's servants, to instruct them, and to separate those with potential from those who have exhausted it. That is my duty as Sentinel. This ship has bays worth of pilots, enforcers, officers, technicians, and stewards, whom I have raised personally. By the throne, every third person standing on this bridge right now was my student at one point. I see. Evidently, my officer, anything but shining examples of unity and inheritance one day. I have only myself to blame, I suppose. I've heard enough. I will go down to the lower decks and deal with the problem personally. Praise the Emperor. The event cannot contain her relief. Thank you, Lord Captain. Aberlad grits his teeth silently. An enterprise boarding on the sacrament. Sophomoric, but please yourself, Lord Captain. However, I insist that I escort you. Lord Captain, I regret that the enforcers were unable to handle the situation, which then led to you and Sentinel's involvement. I consider it my duty to go to Depot 4 myself and see the expedient resolution of this incident.
The web serves.
Rise to the top, or get left in the dust.
Hey, it's worse than take that, scum. Averlad reflexively wipes the sweat from his brow in a startling human gesture, and a telling one, a rare moment where he allows his age and weariness to show through his armor-like veneer of self-assurance. The lower decks are a source of endless problems. Sometimes I dearly regret that we cannot replace all the locals with servitors. Did you hear that? They were shouting your name. Of course they were. The organization of this daily routine. Life of their ships rest upon my shoulders. The mountain of challenges and problems for which I endure to insulate. Lord Captain, the situation on the lower decks has been a cause for concern, and I have intervened personally on more than one occasion. That must be why they remember me. They do not know your face. To them you are akin to a creature of legend, one who has stood on the steps of the Golden Throne, no less. For I am a man whose name is attached to every order docking rations or lowering of base heating. The people dare respect a senior officer. They would not have a chance to express such disrespect if they were not here, and if the situation has been dealt with by relative officers. It is a junior officer's worst failing to pass problems up the chain of command. I have never been able to abide it, and I shall say it again. It was a mistake to come here, Lord. On Lieutenant Vince whim, Lord Captain. I must admit that the lieutenant is no means the worst material for the officer. But in the name of terror, that girl is the same age as my eldest great-granddaughter, and she has the goal to tell me how to manage the lower decks and hunt down cultists. It will be another 20 years at least before she can be trusted to act without oversight. Let's keep moving. We need to get to the bottom of this.
Always keep your eye on the prize.
The shadows reveal their secrets.
I still do not see our purpose in coming here.
The sounds of a heated discussion reverberate through the ship's bays. Lieutenant Ariella Vint of the ship's enforcers is bearing the path of her superior, Master-at-Arms, Josiah Joe Castia Serback, who has arrived clad in armor. Judging by their expressions and tone, the standoff has dragged off for some time already. It has now reached a boiling point. Lieutenant Vint, my patience is waning thin. I have given you an order. Now get out of my way. I cannot comply with that order, ma'am. Vint looks shaken, but there's fire in her eyes. This is my deck and my sector. So long as this area remains under Lord Captain's special oversight, no action can be taken without my express permission. There are only 3 people who are authorized to make me stand down. The first officer, the rogue trader, and the Emperor himself. So not all my lessons fell on deaf ears. He does not clarify whether he means Vint, Serback, looming over her, or both. Your lordship. Noticing you, the 2 officers snap to attention and salute. Their subordinates follow suit a moment later. What's the situation? Your lordship, my people have locked down the bay where the strikers are, including their leaders. We have the situation under control as far as resources allow. Under control, Lieutenant? I came here to lead an investigation unit, and what do I see? The rebels on the verge of mutiny. There's nothing to investigate. It simply calls for immediate repression and firing squads. And you, Vince, are a step away from facing charges yourself. We encountered some locals on our way here. Their conduct was outrageous. They even tried to throw things at us. Vince's gaze fell in full worry and regret. The people are getting desperately, clearly. They saw the assault unit and decided they had nothing left to lose. I apologize, Lord Captain. It is outrageous. I'm sure the people simply do not recognize you. It wouldn't have occurred otherwise. We will deal with them once the current situation is resolved. Is that all you have to say? Are you sure you're worthy of officer's rank, Lieutenant Vent? For a split second, Vent freezes in fear, but she pulls herself together, straightens, and clips out. Forgive me, Lord Captain. I will take steps to ensure such a thing does not happen again. I want to speak to the strikers. Aberlad's mouth twists, but he restrains himself and says nothing. Right you are, Lord Captain. Allow me to wish you good luck. Hope gleams in Lieutenant Vent's eyes.
I always keep my options open.
A dozen pair of eyes stare apprehensively at you. The people before you are typical inhabitants of the lower decks. You take in their simple clothing, crude weapons, and faces that display varying levels of mutation, from the barely discernible to the strange to the outright grotesque. Children are freezing. We've done nothing wrong. We're being punished. A whisper passes through the crowd, and you detect a mixture of fear, astonishment, and joy in their reactions. Finally, 3 people break away from the crowd, an elderly woman and 2 men. These must be their leaders. They bow clumsily before you. Lord Captain, you have to come down. You have to come down to us. Tell me what is troubling you. Why are you striking? Striking? That's news to us, your lordship. A tall, thin man in worker's garb. All we're doing is asking questions, saying what we think. Shut up, snaps an old woman who turns her hostile dark eyes on you. Here's the deal, your lordship. Your damn enforcers are all over us down here. They say they're looking for cultists. One wrong road and they're reaching for their batons. If they want to punish someone, they turn off the heating to the whole bay for a week at a time. So we get sick and freeze. In my clan, 2 little ones died from inflammation in their lungs, all because of those enforcers. The old woman spits on the floor and rubs the spittle with her toe of her worn-out shoe. Argenta does not interrupt the workers, but you see sadness well in their eyes when children's death are mentioned. She quietly whispers a requiem prayer and makes signs of herself. It's all true, Mint. It's the only enforced officer who stood up for us. It's clear as day who had a mother from the lower decks, and who grew up immense and who has no fellow feeling towards us. The grown man with the scarred face throws up his arms. Your lordship, we're no villains here. We're honest workers, your servants. We plotted no disorder. We went on strike openly, and now we've got guns pointed at us. All we're doing is asking to be allowed to work in peace without being harassed. The prosecution started a pulse of nothing, you say? I was told that one of you is found in possession of a cultist amulet, and that there are heretics hiding here. Cultist amulet? What's that? The Gruggra they found on the dead drunkard? If it was something evil or forbidden, we sure didn't know. The enforcers just said they were looking for heretics among us, and anyone obscuring their investigation would be punished. But how could there be heretics here? We know our own people. There have been no new faces around. Definitely not. If there were, we'd be the first to report them. And as for that amulet, or whatever it is, they took it off a dead body. There are no cultists still breathing in our sector, that's for sure. But when that fight broke out, some enterprising folks looted the bodies. The boots they came back with. Nobody's ever treated the Dexton boots so fine. I can tell you that. Seems to me the cultists have better commanders than us. Oh yeah, those boots were really fine. There was no harm in taking them, right? As for the amulet, it must have been pocketed by someone who didn't know any better. We don't need any amulets around here. We all worship the Emperor. And when we're working, we bow down to the machine spirits of the large and small transformers of the servitor motor. The same way my grandfather was taught 100 years ago by a tech priest who came calling, "Believe us, your lordship, we are people of faith." Naive child, weren't you taught from an early age the dangers of the archenemy creations? Weren't you warned that any unfamiliar object could be one of them? We were told, holy sister, but it's a long ago. The last time we saw a professor in our sector, it was just after I had my third little one. That is regrettable, but you cannot lay the burden of leading a righteous life on the shoulders of holy fathers. Who will you blame when the beast crawl out of those amulets you stole from the heretics? The holy father who is not here? Or the scavenger who brought evil down upon himself and his neighbors? Now, lad, do you have anything to add? I authorize the use of necessary measures to locate Chaos worshippers hiding in this sector. The specific steps taken by the officers were not reported to me. He frowns, clearly disgruntled at having to explain himself in the workers' presence. Nevertheless, I am certain that their actions were justified. Cultists are no drunken servitors. They are enemy and a threat to the ship. Neutralizing them demands decisive action. Sorry, Beck, was it really necessary to torture these people with cold? The rabble understand only one language, Lord Captain, and that of violence. As per regulations, should the laborers persist and their unwillingness to cooperate, the next step is limiting their air supply, cutting off water, which is almost certain to restore order. The peasants can grumble all they want, but at the end, they are a source of their own misery. All they have to do is bow their heads and fall in line. And the need for punitive measures will disappear. We were attacked on the way here. How do you explain that? Here's an explanation for you. The people have been pushed to their limit, and now they're lashing out. As if we don't know why these top deck units are being sit down here like they're the ones that Lieutenant won't... Like that one there that the Lieutenant won't let pass. Our clans are all inside the bay, been sealed off, but the lower decks are big. I'm sure there are some people who've just had about enough. We're getting it all from all sides. The soldiers have encircled the ones who've risen up. A death squad has just arrived. It's no wonder folks are lashing out. Their words seem sincere to you. Their body language and glances traded between them revealed that news of the attack has shocked them. What changes do you want? Would you look at that? The exalted Lord Captain himself is asking us vile rats what we want. Well, here's what. We want you to rein in your damned enforcers, to quit turning off the heat, and to stop battering everything that moves. No, that's not it. We want the enforcers gone from here, and we want to be armed. Give us arms and we'll govern ourselves. We'll defend ourselves if these cultists do show their faces. I've been leader of my clan for 20 years now. Getting rid of those club-wielding thugs can only improve things around here. You've gone too far, old man. You'll never let the maggots on lower decks live without the enforcers breathing down their necks. They'll probably even insist on enforcers on the upper decks, too. As for weapons, what do we need them for? Before the first day's out, we'll have someone shooting their neighbor out of stupidity and drunkenness. We don't need that. If the enforcers stop passing us, that'll be enough. And in return, we'll find scavengers who rob the cultist bodies and take to them. One lower decker to another. If there are any more of those damned amulets about, we'll hand them over to the enforcers ourselves. You speak for yourself and your clan, and I'll speak for me and mine. I don't want empty gestures, I want real change. They'll promise us the world now, but as soon as the Taunted One turns his back, those brutes will be on us even harder than before. All because we dared to speak out. The tall worker's eyes dart between the two, arguing leaders. Every few seconds he opens his mouth, as if planning to agree, but each time he falls silent, simply making a few vague noises of approval. Thoughts, Alberlad? The story is about going scavenging for boots and accidentally picking up a heretic's amulet. It doesn't convince me. These people were moments away from rebelling, and possibly becoming minions of the archenemy. You must not give them what they want, even if they did acquire some innocently, purely out of their own stupidity. That does not mean they are not tainted with corruption. What begins as petty thievery can turn into a far graver problem I've seen before. In my second war, there was a sergeant of the Imperial Guard regiment that was stationed nearby. The sergeant took an ordinary pocket knife from the body of a heretic, and his whole unit lost their lives for it. When they finally managed to break into the barracks, they found not a single survivor, only the pocket knife, which is grown through all the rows of beds like a metal choking vine. So when it comes to scavengers, Noskants, strikers, or whatever they turn into next, my verdict is simple: give them no quarter. Master at Arms, where do you stand? You're the rebel of Grox, and they'll take on an algae world, Lord Captain. They'll only understand brute force and will interpret any concessions as a sign of weakness. Giving them weapons and recalling the enforcers would be folly. It would only be a matter of time before we had a full-scale mutiny on our hands. Spreading anarchy on the ships, the first step towards embracing chaos. Putting weapons into untrained hands would be even worse. What's more, the enforcers are needed to maintain oversight and order. Withdraw those demands and we will consider the rest. The tall worker they call Rivet shrugs and casts a sidelong look at the woman. Old man, listen. The Lord Captain himself has come down to us and is offering concessions. And I don't know a single person in the whole of Depot 4 who's ever stood next to a rogue traitor, let alone talk to him. Back down. Now's not the time to be stubborn, old crone. Listen to us, old man. 3 clans of Depot 4 act as one. We made our minds up, it's your turn to decide. Don't ask them to disband the enforcers or give us weapons. We don't need any of that. The old woman hisses in dissatisfaction. You two are ganging up on me, is that it? So brave you are against an old woman, but I'll shut up, I will. Indeed, I won't go against 2 clan leaders on my own. If you want to make peace with the enforcers, make your peace. That's great, just fantastic, Lord Captain. We all agreed. Then it's decided. Prosecution will stop, and I expect you to assist in locating any remains of amulets or weapons left by the cultists. Your Lordship, thank you. Have you not abandoned us lower deckers? You came yourself and sailed everything. I'll tell my grandchildren about this. Oh. Give it a second, Sprouse. Of course, Your Lordship. We'll root out any nasty business faster than the enforcers, and we'll leave no stone unturned.
Keep your wits about you.
Cast your eye there.
That's how it's done.
The dead know.
I know how to take risks. always have a backup plan. Success is the only outcome I accept.
Stopping unexpectedly, Alberlad's imperative dismisses the unit to stand at a distance and addresses your other companions, saying, "I have urgent matters to discuss with the Lord Captain. Please give us a moment." Alberlad looks at you, and his last vestiges of his restraint vanish. "Well, are you pleased with your investigation, Lord Captain?" You kowtowed to the Desor rabble. You believe their lies and show their leniency. Next time the ship is attacked by cultists, that rabble will welcome them with open arms and allow them to wreak whatever havoc they like because they see you as a weak leader. Is that how you see the future helm of the Von Valancius Protectorate? Do not speak to your Lord Captain in that tone. I'm obliged to speak thus. Who else can point out their errors and offer you counsel? Why are you so angry? I solved the problem. But why did you have to be the one to do it? Why did you consider what it might cost you? I would have handled the situation myself had you not decided to intervene. Remember, Lord Captain Theodora, do you think she ever set one slipped foot into the lower decks? No, she did not. Such matters were left to myself and the junior officers while she decided herself to the grand designs of the Protectorate, as any true strategist and rogue trader ought. Maybe if Theodora has spent more time on trifling matters, she wouldn't have wound up dead. There's a new Lord Captain aboard this ship now, and I will not repeat her mistakes. Alberlad looks at you, stunned, and exhales loudly. Then he nods curtly. I commend your decisiveness, but I am uncomfortable with introducing new protocols in the midst of a crisis. And he straightens to attention. I lost my temper, Lord Captain, and I believe I ought to explain myself. He speaks slowly, the words not coming easily to him. The prosperity of the Von Valancius Protectorate is not just an empty phrase to me. I left the Imperial Navy for the chance to see it flourish. It was the most momentous decision of my life. I did it because I saw in Lord Captain Theodora's deeds signs of true greatness. Rogue traders do not simply forge new routes and capture worlds. They create order out of anarchy. That creative impulse was entirely lacking during my time in the military. So I left behind everything I had known, everything my family had known. I come from a long line of officers, and I embark upon this incredibly reckless venture, Lord Captain. Lord Captain Theodora entrusted me with all of the concerns she had for no time for. She would go off on her flagship for long periods to distant frontiers on scouting voyages, and the advancements of the entire Protectorate rested on my shoulders. And then suddenly, everything that had been built over years and years began to quake, rattling like flimsy hangers on a seismic active world. One of the senior officers betrayed us all. The rogue trader was killed, and who knows what is happening on the planets. I tell you this honestly, without fear of appearing weak. All that has come is a grievous blow to me. I am not panicking or grieving because I cannot allow myself to panic or grieve. I am duty-bound to aid the rogue trader, to aid you to find your footing as quickly as possible, and to do that I must insulate you from problems that the past have been dealt with by tried and tested procedures set out in the ship's regulators. Procedures that were established long ago and have functioned smoothly for decades cannot suddenly be deemed excessive to requirements. I understand, but you need to learn how to respect me as your Lord Captain and Rogue Trader. Accept it and start living in the new world. A world where Theodora is gone and where you and I will have to make new decisions to make. Yes, Lord Captain. Your resolve is admirable and demonstrates strong leadership. I shall remember this moment, should my old habits ever begin to creep back in. And now please, let us leave now the lower decks. If the Rogue Trader desires to stretch his legs, there are far more suitable places.
Is there money to be made?
Over there.
Come in. Come in, escort. This is Captain Bakera, escort. Please come in. The pale young woman looks at you with a mixture of hope and disbelief swirling in her eyes. You notice her hands trembling as she clutches her weapon. Who are you? Did you come from the planet? Are you a reinforcement? Sinks teeth, I thought I'd never come. I am Rogue Trader Halt von Valancius. Now introduce yourself. At once, the woman stands at attention. Captain Recoil Venkaya, servant of House Winterscale and the pilot of this shuttle. It is an honor to his greetings, Lordship von Valancius. Tell me about this planetoid. The only settlement on Rakardphila is a penal colony. The prisoners work in the mines in the domed quarters. They mine sulfur and karma dust and sand, which is then melted down, a rather nondescript place, or so it was prior to the current events. What happened here? There's been a prison riot on the planetoid. Sadly, it's being led by the prison warden himself, the Honorable Anagath Kostlegra, has allied himself with the rabble that he himself was supposed to watch, and declared Rakardphila to be independent of the authority of the system's lawful governor. I came here as a shuttle pilot alongside the Honorable Evanay Winterscale, son of Caligus Winterscale, rogue trader, vanquisher of Xenos, forever triumphant over the enemies of humanity. Young Lord Winterscale wished to speak with the Warden personally so he could put an end to this lawless treason. He and his escort went ahead, and I haven't been able to contact the Vox for a very long time now. Evernin, he mutters, stroking his beard. One of the distant younger offspring, yes. That is as much as I know about him, which means he hasn't distinguished himself in any meaningful way. Evidently, Winterscale has made several diplomatic visits to Iraq 5 on the behalf of his father, rogue trader Caligus Winterscale. The great regent would not have granted entry to someone dishonorable, which means whatever happened in this terrible Maladorf's place, we must aid this man of noble blood. The warden himself is spearheading the riot? Yes. She bites her lip. No one expected this. Master Castigala is a nobleman from a respected governing house and a vassal of House Winterscale. All of a sudden, he proclaimed that Rockard was now his personal domain, and that the prisoners were his subjects, and that he would never bow to anyone again. It's pure heresy. Now take there looking forward to a diet of sand and gravel. What kind of madman would start a revolt on a barren rock? Why would young Winterscale have felt the need to parley with the descendants? It's a personal matter. Master Castigala, the Sentient Warden, is Lord Evelyn's childhood friend. When my lord heard of the riot, the news saddened him greatly, so he rushed here without delay, in hopes of bringing his old friend to his senses, no doubt. First Winterscale in memory who prefers to talk, first rather than shoot and slash. Young Lord Winterscale is not his father's shadow. If he is determined to save his friend, he won't back down. I pray to the throne that he is alive and well. He has been gone for such a long time, and I really don't like this place. Theobald executed his wife and only son on mere suspicion of treason against House Orsalio. So why did the noble Evenir rush to save someone who has betrayed his house? Do bonds of friendship give one the right to make inexcusable mistakes? Is there anything else I should appraise before I set out? Some of the rebels hold up in the barracks. I don't know how many, but given this is the only way through where the negotiations are taking place, I'll expect heavy resistance. Please take caution, your lordship. Lord Winterscale's guards mined the entrance so that the rebels couldn't get to the shuttle. I have no more questions. You may excuse yourself, pilot. The woman freezes for a moment before hesitantly asking, Your lordship, if I may have a minute of your time, I wouldn't have dared to trouble you with a personal matter, but the situation, in any case, has been... Have you been to the capital of Rykard, Minoris, yet? I want to ask you if you saw a man, a communications officer by the name of Jesper. What is your relationship with this man? We are engaged, your lordship. I have not yet been to Rykard Minoris, and do not know nothing of this officer's fate. That's a shame. May the Emperor keep that fool from harm. Thank you for your time, your lordship. She bows. You can tell by the desperation in her eyes that she is exhausted, frightened, and wishes to be off the planetoid as soon as possible.
Rise to the top, or get left in the dust.
Duty prevails.
What's a peculiar thing?
This I feel my age when fighting alongside such young warriors.
Onward!
Indeed. While I have my navigator skills to call upon, you are, statistically speaking, far more likely to perish in battle. Oh, I mean, that came out wrong.
The Emperor favors me today.
Yes.
Fate and fortune favor the bold. I know how to take risks. Let us not dawdle. You will beg for mercy, but I will grant none.
Your Emperor won't save you!
Will do. On it. Be gone, such terrible power.
I will do my duty. An exemplary strife. Indeed. Victory is imminent. It will be done. Target well struck.
Death to the weak!
The enemies of the Emperor will be undone! I'll do it. Faith without deeds is worthless. As the Emperor eradicated. I'll do it. Power resides in the will of the righteous. As the Emperor commands, I act. None can escape the Emperor's judgment. This is unacceptable.
I bring mercy and retribution. This goes against the tenets. As honor ordained.
I have read tomes of military tactics. Isn't this a job for the serfs?
I'll see to it personally.
I know what is to come. But of course, was it you? Or anything else?
Tried and tested tactics are the best ones. At your beck and call. Your seneschal is always there.
Let's not waste time with pleasantries. I always keep my options open.
My house would be proud of me.
Dark forces are devouring you, tearing at your soul, Venayadira. I could teach you techniques to clear your mind. Just no intoxication, bloodletting, or self-torture, all right? Hey, why have you gone all quiet there, Scully?
Done.
My brother, the dawn is nigh. The opportunist will guide us into the new existence. Yes, yes, still, brethren. Have a taste of my steel. Oh, how I long for this, my dear brethren. Thank the throne. Normal-looking faces. We thought we were gonna die here with these nutters. An old man with a gap tooth smiled, drops his weapon and holds out his hand in a placating gesture. Please don't shoot us, nobilis. Let us speak a word. Well, this is a welcome change. Talking before shooting. Still, Lord Captain, the look of this ragtag bunch hardly inspires trust. Give me a reason not to execute you on the spot. Here's the deal. We're honest, quiet inmates. We didn't want to riot, but, well, sitting it out wasn't really an option either. The warden's lapdogs made short work of those who refused to join the festivities, so we had to, play along. But all that was play. We never meant to. No offense to Governor Meder, nor to the lawful authority of House Winterscale. Give us a chance, eh? We just want to wait until everything blows over. We can go back to our cells and quietly do the rest of our time. A repentant, honest heretic. How novel. The Lodeborn's speech is mulcted with colors that conceal his true darker hues. This old man has a long history of lies, and he's using his wiles on us as well, but I see no foul corruption or ill intent in his words. Tell me more about the warden and the riot. Pah. Well, I saw your tongue talking about that heretic, but if you must insist, here's how it is. The warden out here is the prison, and the Honorable Master Castigalda was a crackpot from the start. The previous warden ran things the proper way. Prayer, 1 meal a day, work, a punch in the chompers from the guards, work again. But the new one, do you know what his first decree was? He introduced lunches and dinners. By the 9 devils, that's 3 meals a day. The man was obviously stark raving mad. The only things went downhill from there. The guards quit with the teeth punching. The wardens forbade them instead. The overseers started counting which prisoners were digging up more things in the quarry, or swinging their pickaxe harder or whatnot. And then, would you believe it? They put together a list of the best workers. And if someone on that list also showed good behavior, that's when they got promoted to the optimate. It's the upper crust among us jailbirds. Or, that's how it was at first. Then the warden decided it's the optimates, not the guards, who should be in charge of punishments. And that wasn't the overseer's job to watch the prisoners work. It was the optimates. Well, let me tell you, that's when these goody two-shoes really start to shine. The guards weren't even in the same league as our dear fellows. The opportunists. In the old days, we may have 5 or 10 stiffs kicking in a week, and now, well, we were lucky if it was only 50. That wasn't even the end of it. Warden Castigal moved out of his chambers to live right in the quarry, under the dome, and I think something in his new home really scrambled his brain. He began spouting the wildest things, like the opponents are saints. He will behold the truth. And then he started taking them to the quarry. Not all of them returned. The ones who did, you wouldn't recognize them. More beasts than men. They were butchering people left and right, even guards and overseers. The warden himself had armed them. That's the whole sob story. If I knew it was from the moat, he let us have dinners. Oh, this won't end well. Idira nods knowingly. The old cog edger's right. Whenever nobles start giving handouts to commoners, something always goes wrong. She notices your look and catches herself. I mean, with all due respect, your lordship, no offense intended. If I spare you, what do I gain from it? Now, how can a lowly jailbird hope to thank your noble self? I have an inkling. You see, us here, how should we put this? Different from the rest of the prisoners of this place. They're all petty thieves from Riker Minoris, debtors, gutter snipes. They're no one serious. Now, we, your nobleness, are cut from a different cloth altogether. We're fortune seekers from the void. Why, don't tell me Why don't we tell you we're on Footfall Station? You know Footfall? The only shipyard and the best mark in all Kronos Expanse? Yes, so where on Football can you find some very serious business-minded people, and how you can get yourself very special discounts from them on some very special goods? What kind of very serious people? The most serious kind, your nobleness. Have you ever heard about the Fellowship of the Void? It's the largest pirate alliance in the Expanse. There is no leader, of course, but there are some terribly serious captains who decided that cutting each other's throats over loot was, what do you call it? Counterproductive. But cutting throats together, now that's anti-counterproductive. And well, their joint efforts leave them with an excessive of spoils. So they need to dispose of it somehow. And I, your nobleness, just happen to know someone who handles such kind of dealings on behalf of those very serious people. Very well, I shall spare you. Oh, that's great to hear, your nobleness. Just great. Now there's a true aristocrat, not that warden creep. Now then, your nobleness. Where was I? If you're ever on Footfall Station, there's this district there, Shadow Quarters. It's called that because it's located behind the statue of our holiest emperor. I know folks who call it something else, but on account of it being behind the statue, don't repeat their mistake, I tell you. Reverend Hieromonus wasting no time finding and burning them all. Forgive an old man for getting distracted. So, Footfall, Shadow Quarters. There's a bar there, built into the remains of an old ship. And in that bar, in the back room, a certain Rizea does her business. Tell her Grandpa Bakhev says hello. You'll be her favorite client in the blink of an eye. There you are. Well, your nobleness, we'll be able to get going. Now, if you don't mind, you may go. This is unwise, Lord Captain. Most unwise. Will do, your nobleness. The old man smiles slyly and leaves.
Always keep your eye on the prize.
Guilty prevails.
The whispers told me a secret.
That's how it's done. Keep your wits about you. Success is the only outcome I accept.
I told you, Evie. They're hiding so much from us. Arrogant mentors, holy brothers and sisters. What have they ever given us? Nothing but a pile of fibs and useless accommodations. The voice of the man standing with his back to you sounds almost soft. Heedless of everything but what's in front of him, he leans over a prisoner dressed in expensive clothing. By Aurora, she's different. She spoke to me. She spoke with me like no other has before. She revealed the truth to me, and now I can reveal it to you. If you just stop struggling for 1 minute. What? The man realizes he's not alone and turns to you. He's clutching a long, thin metallic rod with blood dripping off of it. We have guests from the Vaughn Valencia ship, I would wager. Evie, my dear, you will have to wait. Do not faint, I beg of you. It's important that you feel everything, including your other eye. As the warden is speaking, a strange sensation draws your attention toward the ground, specifically an open pit in the loose dirt. A single word spontaneously surfaces in your mind: cradle. The pit itself does not appear to be much interest, but at some point it housed something of great importance, something faintly familiar to you. The warden's words are suddenly drowned out by a chorus of voices in your head. The entity that still dwells in the recesses of your mind rejoices in a canopy of tries. This place, it holds great significance for the entity. In the fanatic chanting of the voices, you can almost make out words that speak of an ancient grave, one that was opened, for it contained a priceless treasure, a most coveted prize that was retrieved by the faithful after a centuries-long search. Such dreadful shades. She recoils and covers her mouth. The colors of this place, they are resetted to the core, and these people, their colors are oozing with madness and despair, pain and doom. How do you know who I am? Lies have many faces, but there's only one truth, and it has been laid bare before me. I knew the enemy of truth would come here sooner or later. You know, we had this guy once. He was a quiet one. One day he walked into the mill deck bar, threw one back, then pulled out a gun and started shooting people left and right without saying a word. Then he shoved the barrel in his mouth and blew his brains out. Our warden here has the exact same look in his eyes right now. Who is that on the table? My sincerest apologies. Where are my manners? Please allow me to introduce Evene Winterscale, the younger son of Caligos Winterscale. In the flesh. You know, he was so close to witnessing the truth right before you interrupted our little chat. A fleeting glance at Winterscale's outstretched body is enough to turn your stomach. Torture, the word makes you cringe in shameful horror. Your mind reels with the memories you have tried to unsuccessfully to push to the back of your mind all these years. How dare you, contemptible peasant. For every drop of noble blood you spill, you will pay 100-fold more. She turns to you for your support with an expression that is equal parts indignant and frightened. Aberlad shakes his head somberly. That poor fool. I knew nothing good would come from his naive attempt at negotiating with heretics. However, Evene appears to still be alive. If we make haste, we might be able to yet save him. Having a scorn of House Winterscale in your debt would certainly prove beneficial. What madness have you wrought to this prison? Do you truly want to know? He becomes more animated and runs his hands through his matted hair. You know, it has been some time since he last trimmed his nails. This was my garden, where I tried to grow the seedlings of a beautiful future. That was before I realized that there is no future, not in the sense ordinary people understands. We are too attached to this life, to limitations of our weak bodies, to the short-sightedness of our eyes that we can scarcely see. It is all so insignificant. The true future lies beyond real space, and the only way to reach it through a cleansing sacrifice. So do you understand? Why did you mutilate these people? They're my optimates. saints who guide the flock at the fated hour. Listen, he pauses and smiles. Can you hear? You can't? They are crying out, calling. It's just that their cries are not meant for our ears. They cast their voices out there, beyond the edge of the glass, into the transparent quiet. There, they are heard. There, their call is answered. Rogue Trader, every moment we spent on talking to this heretic could be a moment spent destroying him and committing this place to purifying flames. Isn't that time we get started? That pit. There's something special about it, is there not? An item of value once buried there. Now tell me, Warden, what was the item and who took it from here? The Warden's gaze bores into you, and he smiles with the corner of his lips. You are too late, enemy of truth. This bastion has already fulfilled its great purpose. You'll never find the trail of the reclaimed relic that now rests in the hands of the devout. Who is Aurora? Oh, so you managed to barge in here and interfere with the prophetess designs without even knowing who she is? But it's too late now. You'll never attain sight. All you can do is accept your fate. He suddenly stirs like a predatory beast. I do not like it when people take the prophetess Nora's name in vain. I desire your death, enemy of truth. The Warden raises his hands, and the maimed people start thrashing about in their deaths throes. The time for words has passed, Optimites. Give your power to the Harbinger of Aurora. Let our foes see the truth, or become washed in blood.
Your arrogance will be your downfall.
Surrender to the dark powers! Let's get to it! Chaos guides me!
I am a navigator, not a servitor. Isn't this a job for the Me? If you insist, Lord Captain.
I serve the ruinous powers!
On it. Who if not me? I'll make it happen. Another enemy down. It's as good as done.
Out of my way!
I've suffered worse.
Guided by faith! I am his will made manifest. Faith without deeds is why I was chosen. I'll do it. As the Emperor commands, strike is a prayer. I refuse. Doubt is for the weak. Faith without deeds is worthless. God Emperor, move through me. Be the fire in my heart. I'll do it. As the Emperor commands, for you, my Emperor!
Cover me! What an unfortunate turn of fate. On it. Anything else? Was that you? Or...
It will be done. An exemplary strike. Someone else can do this. Victory is imminent. At your beck and call. No matter the cost. A tactically sound approach. Target well struck. It will be done. I will do my duty.
I shall not fail.
Be careful not to cross my gaze. I'm afraid not. I'm not accustomed to being ordered around. Isn't this a job for the serfs?
Let's make it quick.
Let's make some opportunities.
Death to non-believers.
Pain and duty go hand in hand.
That is not the Emperor's will. None can escape the Emperor's judgment.
Anything else? But of course. Will do. On it. Ah!
At your beck and call.
A dance of blades and shadows. Trust me. As the tenant.
Hold on.
If I may, I am a navigator, not a servitor.
I am ready for whatever comes. You never stood a chance. fate and fortune favor the bold.
I don't believe we've been properly introduced. Blood is bubbling on the young man's lips, and his voice is barely audible. But even now it remains melodious and quite coherent and quite courteous. Evelyn Winterskill, Avchronos, greatly pleased to make your acquaintance. On the rare days that Lord Winterskill visited Iraq 5, the station was awash in a mist of warm hues. We were forbidden from meeting each other, but I was delighted to still see such rare colors in my home. Now, however, his colors are darkening, twisting from pain and bitterness. We must help, Lord Captain. We must save the clarity of his soul, for he is whose presence makes the world a little brighter, deserve no less. Lady Cassia, I presume, the sacred child of House Orsalio. How disgraceful it is that on the day we finally meet, he looks away in shame, find myself not at my best. There is no disgrace in your predicament, Lord Winterskill. The Lord Captain and I met under similarly dreadful and tragic circumstances. What have they done to you? The warden, my friend. I tried to convince him to stop the riot. Diplomacy fails. Father hates diplomacy, which is why I had to try. Conserve your strength. You are wounded and need help. Wounded. I would have phrased it altogether differently. Tortured and maimed, perhaps. Have you had your eyes burned out? This was my first time. I cannot say I recommend the procedure. He's either trying to make light of the situation or has grown delirious from the pain. I must take my leave. I will see it that your assistance is provided to you and that you are escorted from here. He nods, given into oblivion.
I always have a backup plan.
Your eyes are drawn to the shards of the enormous lens scattered around the broken device. At first you are uncertain as to what troubles you, but suddenly the realization hits you. The glass shimmers in a unique way, just the same as the way the shards of the unknown broken object you found near Theodore von Valancius' desk. What is the matter, Lord Captain? Why are you so interested in... Alberlad trails off when he notices what you're looking at. He instantly makes the connection. By the Imperium's saints, it cannot be. Yadira bites her lip. I see it too. Whatever that thing in there said it was made from the same material as this junk. What? Alberlad is lost for his words. He's taken a moment to collect himself, and all at once starts pouring out of his hasty sputter. It is a mistake. Slanderment to besmirch the good name of a person who is now dead and cannot defend herself. First, those minions of the archenemy murdered Lord Captain Theodora, and now this cannot be tolerated. It will not be tolerated. Come on now, Alberlad. Remember what she was like. Idira's smile betrays her grief, but at the same time, it is strangely knowing, brazen, assertive. It was like her entire life was a race against fate until fate caught up with her in the end. She would have gone headfirst into a black hole if she thought it wouldn't, but even one instead have everyone else out in the expanse. He had just found out what she was keeping at her desk, and why she went during the attack. sister, China's beautiful face is full of grief. How bitter it is to know that you are born from bad blood. But do not let this knowledge drag you into darkness. The sister's words ring with a genuine, sincere hope that you be blessed with worthier fates. She does not appear to be shocked by the news of Theodore's possible heresy. Life must be so easy for you, Second's preachers. A dubious trinket, and you no longer see a person. You see bad blood, an annoying hindrance. She recoils, but the next moment her dark eyes ignite with fury. How dare you admonish me? We are speaking about setting the archenemy, a person who has tainted themselves and thus can never justify their actions. Sure, why go through all the trouble of trying to make sense of anything when you can just label them a heretic and call it a day? Except, dear friend, I seem to be remembering that you don't mind Theodore so much while you are aboard the ship. You didn't leave her side for even a moment. She rescued you, aided you, and your adoration wilted the moment you heard of an accusation sullying her memory. You weren't surprised or upset. You had just given up on her and moved on. Idira is right. It is too soon to cast accusations of heresy. Holt, don't be a naive. Theodora kept an unsanctioned witch by her side like a pet. Do you really believe she would think twice about crossing the line in other ways?
Rise to the top or get left in the dust. I always keep my options open.
your lordship. The rebellion is crushed. I have news of your lord. Is Lord Winterscale alive? Is he alright? He is safe and in one piece. I shall receive him as a guest on my ship. So ready the shuttle. Consider it done, your lordship. Thank you for the good news.
Let us not dawdle.
Permission to report, Lord Captain. Over the past few days, I received several messages from different decks complaining about anomalous behavior in the ship's cognators and servitors. The machine spirits are restless and rebellious, and no tech latency or ritual of pacification can rid them of this obscenity. The tech priests can only deal with the vessel's systems, but the servitors, they make errors in their tasks, disobey orders, and change their assigned rituals, or sometimes downright freeze as if in a trance. A click comes from the Vox channel, followed by a weary sigh. Lord Captain, occurrences such as these are caused by errors in the cognators' calculations, or have others some sensible explanation. I beseech you not to take after those whispers about the ship being cursed or possessed. Adira joins the channel and chimes in playfully. Oh, don't start, old man. All these particular happenings have long since turned out into local legends. A door slams shut, a lumen starts flickering. Folks have grown used to it all, so our resident ghost has decided to up the ante. I'm telling you, things are only going to get worse from here. The technomads inspected the servitors and concluded they posed no danger, according to the servants of the Osa. Omnissiah. Such behavior is caused by either the echoes of minds not completely eliminated, or by manifestations of the machine spirit's will. Nevertheless, the faulty servitors make the cruise tests considerably more difficult, and High Factome Janice Donrock would like to discuss how we should deal with this deficiency properly. He is awaiting your attendance on the bridge. The Vox cackles to life, and the Master Helmsman Ravar addresses you. What we have here, Lord Captain, it's not very noticeable, but there's a void ship sitting in the local asteroid field. It's sure not quiet, and like it's huddled up in there on purpose. It's not like I'm surprised the thing's more scrap heat than ship at this point. Somebody sure went to town on it. We're registering critical damage to the hull and pressurization of several compartments. Oh, there's an incoming transmission now, too. Hear us? The Vox transmission hisses interruptedly because it's static. Do not require assistance. Pete, do not require assistance. Copy? The Vox reloads a different voice. Keep following. They'll pass us by, won't they? Protects. Lord Captain, I'm told our augurs cannot determine the allegiance of this vessel. To be brief, there's an unidentified and badly damaged vessel within an asteroid field near the Rykard Philia colony. That is a refuge using help, which, not to put a fine point on, has not yet been offered to them. Ravar, can we establish communications? Let the vessel identify itself. Yes, Lord Captain. The connections is established. Unknown vessel. We are receiving you. Identify yourselves. I repeat, identify yourselves. For a brief moment, the Vox only hisses and snaps, and several voices at once start whispering over and start shouting over one another. Don't tell him. Tell him we're done for. This is Thunderfang. We are... One of the voices falters uncertainly and replaced by another. A merchant vessel. Do you copy? We are a private mason vessel. A merchant vessel? Of course they are. Damn my stupid head. Where did I hear that name before? Thunderfang. Damage report on the unknown vessel. Telemetry shows multiple hull breaches, most likely caused by guns on a combat ship. Several compartments are leaking air. The bridge has almost been completely obliterated. 2 of the engines are critically damaged. Someone gave them a thrashing so solid they barely managed to limp away. Thunderfang, why can't we not identify you? You can make out a hoarse and fierce whisper even over the cracking of static. Why? I don't know. What if? Certainly not. The whispering dies and clears. A useful voice cuts to static. Our vessel is badly damaged. Damage appear to be preventing the correct identification. We assure you, mercy vessel, Thunderfang does not require aid. Thunderfang, your vessel is badly damaged. What happened to you? The Vox responds by bursting into a canopy of sounds, words, and emotions. Someone chuckles bitterly, another swears by some foul expletive, and yet another hisses, fiercely demanding that the other shut up. We managed to make out a little from all the noise. We were just flying, minding our own business, straight out of the blue, and opened fire. Miracle we could get away. We were protected, and who's then more fire? Who? Void only knows. Roasted our tail, bombed everything. Our folks are left out without our help. We never got to them. Thunderfang, stop playing games and explain again what your business is here. And this time I highly recommend the truth. Happy now? What have you done, idiot? It's too late now. The whispers and static are drowned out by a clear, slightly frightened voice. Do you copy? We're from the Fellow of the Void. We did not come here to loot on a different business, to help our own out of jail. Do not hurt Lise. We already had our kronos cleaned. How about striking a deal? Our hold is full of goods. And in case you are unaware, Lord Captain, the Fellowship of the Void is a disorderly assembled of several dozen pirate factions in the Kronos expanse. They consider themselves above regular heretics solely because they sometimes have Vox conversations with those whom they are about to board. Were it up to me, I'd make them eat a salvo from the micro cannons to shake the scum loose from the decks. They certainly deserve it. The honeyed voice of the High Factorum interrupts the transmission with a polite cough. I would wait on destroying the vessel if I were you, although the moral aspects of their life do cause some awkward questions. The Fellowship of the Void remains a major supplier of goods to the local market. Perhaps you will find dealing with them acceptable, especially in a situation where performing a warp jump is impossible. Thunderfang, prepare for commercial exchange.